you have something in which is priceless. You get a planet to live on. You get an experience, a body to live in and live this video game, if you want to say, for your soul to experience. You are a soul in which is a part of the greater soul or a source to experience itself. And you get to experience being separated from source to help these other small parts of source to do what they're doing. We're playing a giant open world game, physical, non-physical, even higher than that. You get to do this and we get to do it together. To me, that is priceless. Our souls are priceless. For me to get to talk to you guys is worth more than $1 million. Getting to meet other Starseeds is worth more than $1 million. Of course, I still want $1 million, but I love that it's priceless. Love is priceless to me. And I want everybody to remember your true essence so that we don't repeat the same mistakes our ancestors did off planet and on planet. And it's time to return home, finally.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Awaken to Joy. I'm Shem.
Omondi, I am Omondi.
And today we have another wonderful guest. It is Cash, goes by King Cash, and he is a wonderful soul who astral travels, who dreams, who intuitive, so many things. I'm going to let him explain. So welcome.
Thank you guys for having me on, by the way. Pleasure to be here. Yes, I go by King Cash. I live in Canada. I guess you could say that I kind of do a little bit of everything. And what kind of brought me to this was when I was young, and this was about high school when I started getting what they call now upgrades. So they're literally like my body would be filled with like energy, like it was just like stuff was downloaded into me, and this led to what people call seizures, and I would have them every month. And this kind of had an awakening in me when I was younger, and I had them ever since every month. And they gave me more sensitivity to perceive the spirit realm, and they gave me more awareness. And I didn't even know fully what was happening. I just knew I could sense more. And all my friends were like, I don't know how you know these things, but you're sensing way more. So I began to study it and start to work on my abilities. And now I work as, I kind of struggle to have a title for it, but I guess you could say I'm an intuitive guide. I'm an astral traveler. I astral travel every night. And I would say I'm the bridge between physical and spiritual, and I help people on both sides to interact with both sides.
Wonderful. I am so big on the galactic journey right now, or the galactic remembrance realization. That's part of what we're going to touch on, because I know that so much of your remembrance has been around that. Now I've seen in your own journey, because I subscribe to you, I watch your videos, they've been so helpful, that you've really had a lot of memories come in. Now, when it comes to your galactic side, you have spoken a lot about your Lyran heritage. Would you like to share some of that with any of our Starseeds out there who are kind of going through that right now and are wondering, am I alone? Is this real? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually kind of want to use the title that the government uses, which is not common for me to do. But they use the title here called Cosmic Identity. Now, I thought that was interesting because there's been CIA agents saying, look, we have these star people coming on the planet that are like incarnating here or incognito as newborns, and they have a large cosmic identity, or it gives them a status spiritually. Now, when I started having these upgrades, which was that's actually New Year's of 2017 is my first one I ever had. And that's when I started getting memories of places that were not on the planet, but were off planet. And I remember seeing a war between humans and reptilians, as well as felines and avians. And I didn't fully understand what was going on. But then as I looked into it online, I saw this was real galactic history. So before this, I was like, you know what? This stuff ain't real. Like, it ain't something that's for real. But when I started getting the memories were showing me first. And then I was like, oh my God, okay, let me dive into this. And then it was always real online. So that's when I began to be interconnected with spirits. Like spirits would say, we need your help on the ground. And I know we'll dive into this a little more later, but we'll stick to the galactic history for now. But I started to realize that I was a soul in a human body more. And then once that sunk in, then I realized, whoa, my soul's been around like crazy. And to see what I was doing, to see what I was experiencing, it also was kind of explaining what I was going through here. There was so much memories that were, it felt like a memory, like when you look at your childhood and it's like, you could feel like, yeah, I've been through that. This had not happened. It was like that. But my mind was like, that wasn't this lifetime. That was somewhere else. Then it got to the point where I was meeting people on the planet from these lifetimes. And synchronicities, like my nephew, for example, some of y'all see me on Instagram with my nephew, and I got past life memories that he was my child and we were robots together. And I was like, okay, this is really cool, but how does this robot stuff work? This is when I started to understand ET stuff more. So I'm like, so robots can have souls? Like I started to question more. And then what are the odds? I'm babysitting him the next day. And he goes, do you remember when we were robots? And I was like, yo, what?
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, I do. I was like, do you remember when you was my son? And he goes, yeah. And I was blue and you was red. And I was like, yo, this kid remembers. So that was some more confirmation for me. But stuff like that happened always. I could just ask spirit. I'd be like, can you show me? Or can I understand this? And it would always show me. So I started building a relationship with if you want to say, the divine consciousness, God's source, whatever you want to say. And it was showing me really who I was. And all of that was just to show me why I came here, which led to me to do a lot of spirit work, and it led me to what I do now.
Wonderful. Now, a lot of our community that we have started finding each other, and it's like we're all part of this big grid of soul family. So a lot of us are experiencing things like feeling like we're supposed to step more into some heart-based living, i.e. whether someone's drawn to become a healer or they feel more intuitive. There's so many things. And because we're multidimensional, a lot of people having memories and realizing I can do quite a bit. And I know that you've stepped into that. Is there any kind of advice you would give them as far as that's concerned, especially when they're first getting their memories and then realizing, okay, I'm more than just this vessel?
To trust what you know about yourself. Now, maybe hard to build trust at first, but trust is built. That's what trust is. So you begin to allow spirit to show you, allow your own spirit to guide you. And now I always try and talk in a way that sounds less like woo-woo, but as you get deeper, you're like, I see why they talk like that. Like, I see why the ancestors speak the way they do, because it requires a sense of spiritual understanding. So like when people say to trust your spirit, now when you're mind-based, you're like, oh, okay, trust my mind then. But when you really understand your spirit and you feel it, then you start to speak like that. Like, it's like, trust your spirit, like trust the awareness that is behind my senses, trust the awareness that uses my mind, trust the awareness that is perceiving this reality. You go beyond the body and the mind. So you're like, okay, I'm using this body, I'm using this mind. When you actually step into the awareness behind that awareness, you get to the soul. That's something that I wish someone told me about from before, because you're going to feel it in your chest, like it expanding. And then the chakras, I didn't even really believe in the chakras, even though I was getting past like memories. I didn't really believe in that until some spiritual like, yo, we need to get your chakras aligned. I'm like, you said what? So, chakra what? And they're like, yeah, we need your energy point. So they were like, close your eyes, we're going to show you. So I literally started, this is when the ETs, I called them angels at that time. I was like, these angels are in my room, they're showing me. And so first I'm like, can y'all send me, I know y'all are here, but can you send me some confirmation? Then as soon as I pull up Instagram, there's a video. It's like, oh, your chakras, we're going to show you how to get in alignment. I was like, I put down my phone. I was like, all right, let's do it. I was just like, let's just do it right now. So spirits just giving me physical confirmations too with the spirits. And they're like, we're going to show you your chakras. So then I started just tapping into the energy spots. Like I could just feel the energy spots. And I realized, well, okay, these chakras really are real, but I just wanted to call them energy points. And I could feel when the energy wasn't circling enough, when it wasn't flowing enough. And then I'm like, okay, well, energy isn't flowing here, but what's this point? Okay, that's the solar plexus. Okay, well, what does that stand for? Oh, that makes sense because I'm going through this and that. So it led me to all this kind of spirit work. So I would always say to dive into your energy and to have hyper awareness as to yourself. Like, who really are you at the core of everything? And from there, that is how you set your roots within your soul. Now, just like in Avatar, they say no one can teach you to see. You gotta see on your own. And that's definitely the truth. And it starts with tapping into that awareness.
So
Beautiful.
when I'm hearing all of that stuff, I'm thinking, okay, how do you fathom the idea of race, knowing all of this? And also, you, during your childhood, thinking, did you have any sign or things that happening, looking back, thinking like, oh, that's what that is? Because a lot of us, looking back now, we're thinking, I remember that day when this happened, or when I felt a tickle on my side and then no one was there. Those type of things. I mean, it's mind-blowing for anybody that hears that, because it's real. It's really happening, and many of us are going through this. But now we're thinking about our own identity, and we're thinking, okay, hold on. I mean, I'm Black or biracial or whatever race you are, or Indian, and you're like, but it doesn't mean much then, because, you know, on the other side or on other realms, you've got all these beings. Who are they? What are they? Are they like us, or are we hybrids? What's going on? So how did you really grasp the concept of that? Well, how was it for you?
I started out pretty pro-Black, and that was because I went in my town where we were the only Black family until actually recently in my town. So in my school, I was always the only Black person in my school, always. Any Black people that moved here, they bounced real fast when they were like, we can't survive here, in their minds. So I was always left alone, and I was always reminded by my peers that I wasn't one of them. No matter how much I tried to erase that I was Black, it wasn't going to be erased. So I said, you know what? I got to represent. I got to show these people, because they associate Black people in a certain way. So I'd always just say, you know what? I'm just a person just like them. I'm not going to worry about being Black. Because even they would gaslight me and be like, you make everything about race. I'm like, you know what? Okay, then there's no race. I'm just a human. They would not stop reminding me, you're not one of us. When I got to high school, it got worse. I'd go to my computer, and they would have like they would put monkey symbolisms on my computer. I would walk around and people would spit on me. So it was bad. And I was like, even all my friends were like, there's no racism. We don't know what you're talking about. Even though there was a race war in my school between Native and white people. It was very cold war. We lived right beside the reserve. So I felt like I was in the middle. And so when I got to high school, I was like, oh my God, I could be around people that are non-white. And this was like a dream to me. But they also have not come across a lot of Black people. So there was still this tension. And I remember after my first seizure in 2017, that's when I had this awakening. I kept saying to myself, I'm a lion. I could do this. I'm gonna rise up. Like something like I wiped my tears, and I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this on my own, because nobody gonna help me. All my friends, or a lot of my friends, betrayed me. There'd be racism, and they'd be friends with the racists. So I'm like, I gotta learn how to be on my own with this. So I started teaching about Black history, especially history before slavery. I started talking a lot about that, and to me, that was empowering because no one else would talk about it. So then by the end of high school, I was actually pretty well known at the end of high school. And that was because I was really stepping into my power there. And I was always really sensitive to energy too. So I always, especially as a child, always wanted to take care of everybody. Not knowing it's because of energy, but I was like, well, if they feel good, I feel good because I can feel how they feel. So I was always doing that. And negative entities would always attack me when I was younger. Now that I look back, I'm like, oh, they knew. They knew where I was going to be at later. So when high school finished, that's when I decided I was going to study all of this. And that led me to Starseed stuff. And I was like, wow, I remember when I was like, I went to someone I met that was a reader, and he told me, he's like, you're a Lyran. And I started crying, and I was like, I don't even know what a Lyran is, but this hit. And then he showed me, he's like, oh, you know, they're felines. I was like, oh, don't say no more, I know. Like, I understand right away. And I kept getting the flashbacks of me saying, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion, I'm a lion. And that got me through everything. So then that's when the upgrades started giving me more sensitivity. And then the spirits started coming in hot. First, I called them angels. I was like, you know what? Y'all, like, they would be like, you know what? We need your help with this thing. There's like a little girl who sees spirits, for example. We need your help to help her. And I'll be like, okay, you know, y'all sending me on this. Let's do it. Then I'm kind of underestimating it. So I go to where they tell me to go. And I go there and the little girl's there. And I talk to the little girl. I'm like, you've seen spirits, right? And she's like, oh my God, yeah. Like, I asked for the angels to send me somebody and they sent you. And I was like, wait, what did she say? And I was like, but anyways, so when I'm seeing the spirits around, I'm like, what's this like spirit dog? You got like this spirit dog near you. She's like, oh my God, yeah, I have him follow me everywhere. And I'm looking at the sky. I'm like, wait, I thought I was just playing when I said I could see it, but I didn't know how like real it is. I'm just like, I'm seeing these spirits. So she's like, yeah, that was my dog when he died and he follows me around everywhere. I'm like, whoa, okay. That's when I started having more epiphanies. That would keep happening more and more. They would send me on these assignments. They needed help. Kids being attacked by, like, it could even be reptilians. And I'm like, okay, let's see about that reptilian stuff. I go there and the kid randomly runs up to me. He's like, you spiritual, right? I'm like, there's like this reptilian guy attacking me and no one believes me. And I'm like, yo, like these angels told me about this.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is for real, for real. That's when I locked in. I was like, this is for real now. So I said, who are you guys? Because I don't know. I'm not going to do no more assignments until y'all tell me who you is. That's when I had this UFO encounter where this UFO brought me on this ship and I was slapped back in my bed. And they were like, you're one of us. You're just in a human body. And that led me down a whole new road of working with ETs and spirits. And now it is what I do today. I started doing a lot of work in my town to help people with spirits. And there was even like, the spirits would always tell me before, like, we need your help with this. And they're like, we're going to send it your way. Don't worry. And then it gets sent exactly like how they would say. So it got to the point where I was like, I wasn't even too surprised anymore. Like the realms just got really blended together. And I just help people to understand that.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
It's when you said something to me that really hit. When you were talking about I'm a lion, like I'm a songwriter. And that's what I've been. Well, I'm more than that, but that's what I spent most of my time doing for like my childhood, my teens, early 20s, 30s. And I've written so many songs about Heart of a Lion. And I was just like, I never knew why until I had Lyran contact. And once you started talking about your memories coming back and all that, I was like, I immediately was like, all right, we're locked in. I need to know more. And I hadn't ever given it a second thought and I'm a Trekkie. I'm into Star Trek and I never knew why. I was like, yeah, this is real. But I never connected the dots and said, okay, and now I'm one of them, or like I've been one of them, or I never made the connection. So when you're telling me your story and the way it unfolded for you, I know that this is going to resonate for so much more people because this is real things out here. Like, I know people think it's like woohoo or it's fiction. It's science fiction, right? not that it's your so-called racial heritage. It's your cosmic history. It's your human history. It's your whole bag. Like, it's more of our bag than this human thing is. This is the new. That there is like eons and eons of history to unfold. So I know how it is as well, like in high school, how it could just, you get tested.
Yeah. It was definitely an initiation, and I'm actually really grateful for it, because it made me really strong for what I do now. You know what? I'll expand a little bit on the race part, like how you were saying. Now I'm like, I don't really look at race like how I used to. I needed to be empowered with my race, but then I realized, whoa, like I'm way beyond this. Yes, we have categories of human that have different histories, lost history as well, for sure. And that needs to be put out, especially the history of humans, like talking about the original human being black and then expanding to then create the other races. Now there's no superiority or an inferiority. It's just history. And then talking about how it led to now. This is human Earth history, in which has actually been, Earth is like a giant experiment. It's literally like a library planet. So what we're seeing happen here has already happened out there a long time ago. And our souls are here being like, oh, this is a Tuesday. We've been there, done that. We've been knowing how this works. So we just here to help y'all out. Like, everybody's definitely going to see. And people that don't believe, I remember I went to a school one time and I talked about Black history. And at the end, I talked about Galactic history. And I was trying to expand people's minds. None of them believed me. And then like, we all thought he was crazy as hell. But I left saying, trust me, you guys, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm saying I know this. So you guys are going to see this real soon. What happened in a few years, and the disclosures come in. Now these people are running back saying, wait, you was right. You was really talking about this. Can you tell us more? Wait, so you was really in the astral realm fighting, and you really was in the astral realm talking to these ETs? Yeah, I've been telling y'all this, right? I've been telling y'all this was happening. So to see also people step into it, I'm very glad. And I want people to understand that this is not something we believe. This is something we know. And everybody's going to know of in time. And race is just category of human, in which is beautiful to see, as there's category of humans out there. Every animal and type of human you see here, there's an advanced ET out there. There's advanced grasshoppers, advanced like dolphins. Like everything you see here is just like an ancestor of the beings out there.
So I wanted to touch on astral traveling, and also because you mentioned that you were in contact with ETs, or what we call ETs, other beings, and they took you on a ship, and then you were put back in your bed. So, which then for people that are watching, they sometimes need to understand, okay, is that physical or what's going on? So could you explain from your perception when you astral travel and get in contact with beings, and what's the difference when it's physically speaking, meaning this reality, if you had contact yourself physically, and what differences you've noticed, and what was your perception for you?
I have met with ETs physically, not a lot, but I have met up with some. A few were negative, actually many were negative, and many of them were actually positive. So I'd say I'll have 50-50 experience with both. So I've seen different types. I've seen some that are Pleiadian. I've seen some that are like Arcturian. I've seen some that are reptilian, positive and negative. I mean, a lot happened to kind of show me its reality and to kind of help me understand how it works. But there are some that are, you could say, physically ET, and some that are just soul or spiritually ET. But they're both like basically the same thing. Some are, they're just, I always keep going back to the movie Avatar, because it's like that. Like imagine like jumping in an Avatar body. You're still a human, but you're in a Na'vi body. It's just like that. So some have awareness and some aren't. They jump in a Na'vi body and they forget. And then they got to remember. I mean, this is like the same story as Jesus or Yeshua, whoever you want to name him as. He had to be born in a human body. Then he had to remember and go through the process. And then he remembered his mission and he was like, yeah, I'm here. And then he got granted these powers and he's like, I'm here to show y'all. So he was a starseed as well. And I've seen some that are like physically ET, like some of the Pleiadians. You could kind of tell, like their genes look so perfect, I guess you could say. Like it's been through so much. It's like when you look at us, you can see that there's like we're kind of young. But when you look at them, you're like, you've seen that this has been like around for a long time. Very beautiful, bright eyes. I've seen like black ones too that are like Anunnaki, or we like to say Silanthian. Very bright, like their skin is so dark and so shiny. Like their spirits are also really bright. Like I noticed that energetically. When I first saw a physical one, it was 2 Pleiadians actually. And I remember I was walking and I could tell starseeds by their soul energy. So I could tell right away, oh, that's a starseed. That's this one, that one. But this guy, I was like, this is strong. I remember that day I went like this. I felt that I was at Home Depot, and I literally like I felt this strong energy, and I was like, what's that? And I went like this, and it was this like tall ass Pleiadian guy. He was so tall, and he was white skin and bright blue eyes. He was already looking at me and like smiling, and then he walked away. And I was like, yo. And I was like, Mama, did you see that? And she was like, see what? Said, you didn't see that guy that was right there? She was like, no, what guy? So I was like, all right, whatever. A few days later, that happened again. And I was like, he's back. And I went like this. And instead, it was a woman. And she was looking at me smiling too. And she had the same features and everything. And I was like, what is up with this? Right Way Spiritual, like we just wanted to show you that we're here physically as well. So I started approaching some of them. I'm like, I know you're not from here. And they kind of go like, they're like this. They're like, man, like they can't really say much. And I told them, like, you know, you can tell me where you're from. You know that, right? Like this one guy in the Reds I met. And this is when I was dealing with some negative reptilians that were physical. And I went to him. The ETs were like, go to this store. There's going to be a guy to help you. So I go there. And I'm like, you know, I'm dealing with this and that. And he's like, yeah, I know. Here's some stuff for you. And he's like, can you tell me how to do it? And I was like, wait, you already like knew I was coming? And he's like, yeah, like you're on a mission. Here's your stuff for your mission. I was like, whoa, like, I mean, the ETs would always tell me beforehand. So this is what made me even lock in even more. Because they would tell me and I would still do it. But now I'm like, I guess when the realms blend, you kind of still associate the physical as real. And then the other is not really real. But then I was like, wow, they really actually affect each other. Just like fighting entities in the astral and then seeing how it clears up stuff in the physical or whatnot, things like that. Yeah, but meeting some in the physical and some that are starseeds, also some that are non-physical ETs. Yeah, it's been a cool journey to see all sides of that.
Listen, I resonate so much with that, especially for the Silanthians. And I'm not in the business of asking people, who are you? What's your name? I just get right in there with the conversation. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, I didn't get the name. So when I saw your video, I was like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, those people. Especially like the Adorni, we roll deep. Like, so deep. I've even got like peoples there. Like I got peoples there and I got peoples who are like Silanthian big time. They've visited us. They visited my kids, me, Mondi. Like it was a whole thing. And they were just like, yo, they were making jokes about like human history, like what Black people think they are and what every people think they are. It's funny to them because they're like, not quite. Not quite. And it was just like, for real? And they were like, yeah, girl, like, come on, like, what did you? And I was like, yeah, true. I see it now. I see it. So that's why it like hit so hard. So I wanted to talk about something as well that I've experienced, which are missions. Mm. And I always put it down to my guides or angels. And then when I finally met my guides and they had purple eyes with like lightning bolts running through the pupils, I was like, okay, All right then. Immediate. Okay, now okay. It was like that. Though I have seen angels with wings, that was more of a past history from here. But when it's guides, they're always galactic. So I wanted to talk about your missions. Now, for the past 20 odd years now, I didn't know why, I didn't know what. I just knew that I would go to sleep, have a mission, do it. Sometimes I'd be there 3-4 days, sometimes a month, and I'd just wake up the next morning. Not knowing I was out of body, not knowing what astral travel was, I just knew I'd come back and I'd be just tired. And nobody, because I don't come from anyone who's talking about out of body, astral travel, and none of that. It's literally like 2 years ago I found out. So you mean to tell me all this time I've been like, it's not like, okay, because that's why it felt real. Okay, lots of coins just dropping. So how is it for you and your missions? And when did your mission start, especially like your galactic missions as well?
2022, but I want to say 2023 because that's when I was like, okay, we doing this. And so it was like, my first few were actually in my town. My town was like a practice ground because there was also a lot of demons around and like they wanted me. That's when I became a bounty hunter, or what they call a shadow hunter. I was like, whoa, we could astral travel like this? I want to help out on the planet then. So I would go on this mothership all the time. I'd be like, what do you guys want me to do? And it was the one that's like right in orbit. And I basically like laid on my sword. I'm like, what do you guys want me to do? Oh, we need help with these kids that are Starseeds. Go to the skate park. We're going to send them. And you're also going to astral travel to fight off these shadow people on them. So it started out with that. And I would just pop out my body and I would fly around. And I like using different forms. Like sometimes I'd have wings. Sometimes I would be like... now I have so many different forms I could use now that I'm aware. But then it was just like my human form and some like with the wings and I'd fly around. And I could see people like in the morning going to school, going to work. And I remember times where I would astral travel around some kids that were Starseeds. Because I told them, I'm like, I'm going to watch over you and make sure you're good. So then I would astral travel and like be around them in the school. And it's like they could like sense me. And then the next day I'd see them and they're like, yo, were you like around me yesterday? I could like smell you in class. I was like, yep, you know it. So it got to the point where for fun, I would astral travel with them. I'd pull them out their body and we would just go places and they would remember or partially remember. I was like, you know what? I'm going to play around with this. I was like, I'm going to scare some people. So I'd bring some of my sister's friends on like trips. I'll take them out their body and bring them through my portal in my room and like show them around. And I'm like, this is just fun. Ta-da! Like, look what's out here. And then my sister would call me and be like, yo, my friend wants to talk to you real quick. And then I'd get on the phone and they're like, yo, I had this really weird dream that we went into your room through this portal and all this happened. Like, I feel like I just didn't tell you that. And I'm like, you got it. We did it. It's so fun to me. So for then it was like playing around. And then it got to the point where the ETs were like, okay, seriously, we need your help with some war stuff and some work. So some of the missions were off planet and like related to dark entities. I saw there were some times where I was fighting dark entities, sometimes where I was just engaging with positive extraterrestrials and like maybe I'm going to other planets and like especially like galactic cities and like engaging with beings, learning wisdom, especially if it's like I go there and they're like, hey, welcome back. And I'm like, welcome back? They're like, yo, you bit like this is one of your homes. Like this is you know, you helped us before and this is where your home was before. And I was like, it makes sense. Like you come here and you're talking to them and it's like they're family, but they're not. And they're like, yeah, you could feel it because, you know, we're your family too. Like with the Adorni, for example. And I'm like, wow, it's making sense. So then when you're making these connections and then even calling upon them to help you with certain things. So there'd be a lot of off-planet work, which is also affiliated with Earth always. And some on-planet work. Maybe I'm astral traveling to, I remember I astral traveled to Cape Canaveral. But I didn't know it was that yet. I just kept hearing Cape Canaveral. And it's like I was fighting like a big shadow entity. He looked like a big reptilian guy. And I had like my lion pet with me and we was fighting this guy. And it was like no one could see us. Like no one could see us. I'm like waving in front of people's faces. They can't see you, but you're fighting this thing around them. And they're like, we just need you to get rid of this thing, expel it because it's causing this, and that. And then maybe on the news and I'm hearing something around the area of like negative stuff happening, but then I go there and then it's done. So they would always give me confirmation like, look, what you're doing is always affecting the physical. And we need your help now with Starseeds on the ground to get them ready to do this too. So I would, like they would send people my way physically and I would astral travel with them and they'd remember like this, getting them in the mode to do this. And then now having a team where we all do this together. It's one of the greatest things in the world. I can't wait for the world to do it. Imagine when it's like an MMO game, like everybody's logging into Club Penguin, aka the Astral Realm. You know, like, yo, here's my astral pet. Here's my homies from Sirius. Like to have all of that. This is where the way is going. This ETs call this Starway. And I can't wait for the Starway to come to Earth.
This is fantastic. It's like so packed of information. When I hear you talking about these things, I'm thinking about the community asking themselves all these questions, saying, okay, well, are we in a solar system? What's these things we in? And could you describe like a little bit from your own experience? Because I understand that this has a lot to see with your own perceptions as well. So where are we? Because some people would say, well, it's a flat plane, it's a dome. Other people will say it's a solar system and all of that. So there's a lot of confusion about it. And then now obviously you've got the Galactic Federation, which people are like, okay, what is that? So could you explain these concepts? Because for someone who don't really believe it, you say, well, this is a concept. It's not, it's like the things we say before we say, okay, now that's really real. Like I know that it's real. So yeah.
So Earth is actually one of the first things I wanted to figure out was if the planet was flat. So as soon as I was able to astral travel, I was like, I'm gonna go see right now because I don't want to believe nobody. I went out there, it's a sphere. It ain't flat. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, we could lock in with that truth. Now I want to see what's in the oceans. Okay, there's all these beings down here, a lot of like animals deep down and creatures like sirens. When I saw sirens are real, I was like, okay, I saw that was real. I wanted to figure out the fairies are real. Them is real. So like the way that they put things in the media, there's definitely truth in that. There's truth in the different scriptures in religion, like Adam and Eve happened, just not like how they say. Flood happened and Noah's Ark happened, just not like how they say. Like these things, like the dragons in China happened, just not fully like how they say. It all laid out. Like one of the things I really was I loved was the fairy stuff. Seeing the fairy wars they talked about in Europe, that's real too. So to see how they put it in the media was interesting, but Earth overall it's to the beings out there, it's a planet that kind of mixes all the energies of everywhere in the galaxy. That's why they call it a library planet, because you could do anything here. But it's like ETs call it the capital of the Milky Way, because there's so many beings throughout years and millions of years that have put their DNA here. I actually remember coming to Earth before, and this is before even like the dinosaurs was around, which was made by the reptilians, by the way. That was their experiment they wanted to do on Earth. So I remember coming to Earth, and this was during the Lyran Wars when we needed somewhere to stay. And then we were so spiritual, like we were able to speak with Gaia. And Gaia said, yes, you guys could stay here, but leave some of your DNA here. Leave something here that I could use to build my own people, my own children, but also agree to come back later when I'm going to need you. And we was like, yeah, well, of course we'll come back, which is, of course, right now and during Atlantis times and Lemurian times. So then the DNA that ETs were placing here, they were like, you know what? Let's just place our DNA here and see what it does. That was what the GFL said. But before that, it was reptilians. Reptilians were like, we want to do our thing here. We want to just see what we could make. And that was the reptilians' time. And they also had what you would call intelligent beings that they made out of those reptilians. So like human versions of them, if you want to say it like that. So they had that. And then, of course, the comet out of nowhere comes, which was sent by them and cleaned up house. And then there was like a war for Earth. and the GFL-1, which is just the united force of the galaxy. They're all united for the divine consciousness. So like Jesus and all these angels are a part of the GFL. So once this body was made and they fought for Earth, they wanted to help Gaia create like an intelligent life form. So they all just started placing their DNA here. Like dolphins from Sirius came and said, oh, we'll just place our dolphin ancestors here. Ants, mosquitoes, all of that. There's advanced beings out there with that. So they placed their ancestors or smaller versions of themselves. That's how they explained it to me. And from there, humans were created. But of course, another forces wanted the planet too, which the reptilians came back. And really, they didn't go against galactic law, because galactic law is you can't just intervene. You can't just come in and mess it up. GFL's like, if the humans say they want to make deals with the reptilians, we can't do nothing about that because they have free will. But the reptilians were like, okay, we're going to do what we want without getting in trouble by the GFL or the divine here. We just go and do this. So once certain humans aligned with them, which were the Europeans and some others, they create a plan to just take over the planet, which is why the Europeans wanted to colonize everything. Basically, their homies were the reptilians and the dark grays.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you. So then, when they're talking about free will, it's free will at large, because we can also say, yeah, but I haven't decided this, and it's been decided for myself. So how do they view that concept of free will?
If you intervene within a society's growth and creation of their own culture, then the culture's not really its own. And there's been times in galactic history where the GFL has intervened and said, you know what, we got to stop this. But those beings end up not becoming their own culture. And later on down the line, it caused issues. So they're like, yeah, we can't intervene all the time unless it's divinely guided. So like if humans shoot missiles, you'll see the UFOs come and dismantle it. And everybody's like, yo, how, what? Because the GFL is like, we're not going to let you destroy this planet because it's not just yours, this is ours. And the nuclear stuff affects them out there too. So free will is, you are a soul within the universe, but divine has a plan for you as your soul, your higher self has a plan for you. But you also get to choose what you do. That's what an ego is. An ego is a lifetime. It's a vessel. So it's like, I get to choose what I do in this lifetime. If I want to be egocentric, I can, but this ego is just a vessel for me, for my soul to live and do what it wants to do. So they always know this. And so when Earth was undergoing this process, they said, look, Earth could also be a school, and it could also be where people go on missions. So souls were sent here to learn. So you notice a lot of souls come here and they got to keep coming and learning. Some are here on a mission or both. So now we're in both sides. You'll see souls that are here to learn, souls that are here for a mission, souls that are here to kind of like on vacation, if you want to say. Like there's so much different reasons why Earth is the way it is. And that's why it's a library planet. Like you could do so much here. You could experience anything here. But now it's at the point where the shift is ready to link with the stars, and humans are ready, because humans are now saying there's something more. There's more out there. We were ready to expand, but there's something limiting that. With the GFL knows it, which is why they sent Starseeds. People on the ground, they're like, we can't just intervene and send ETs and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. They got to be like, you know what? We could abide by the laws of the universe by sending Starseeds as one of them. So if we send our people as a human, we can do this work effectively and get them in the mode and help them out without intervening through as an ET. So I found that really, really smart the way they did it. But the Dark Forces also sent their Starseeds, if you want to say it like that. Yeah. So this war of Earth that you keep hearing in religion, it's technically you'll hear people say it's already won. Technically, yeah, it's already won. The GFL already's won. But the process still has to undergo within the physical experiment.
Understood.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I love the way you explain these things, and that's a big reason behind this conversation, because this is how so many people have felt, but not known how to word it or how to even put the thoughts together for themselves. Like right now, I feel like people are going through this, but it's still in the emotion based. They're still feeling feelings and not knowing where they're coming from exactly, or not knowing where they're rooted in. And this kind of grounds that for them. That's what I feel like this conversation's doing. It kind of grounds our galactic heritage for a lot of starseeds, because some people are just discovering their starseeds in the first place, you know, and then there's others who are like, Star what? So it's wonderful to see play out, and I really did resonate with that dolphins as well. And it's only the other day that I even got dolphin transmissions, and I was like, dolphin? That's new. Well, for me anyway. Though it's not, it's old. They told me. But when you're saying like a lot of them will approach you like, hi again, or okay, now you're ready, or and I'm just like, why is everything galactic now? And then they just said, because that's what it is. It's always been. And I was like, oh, snap.
This is the star way.
This is the star way. And when you were growing up, did you ever correlate? Firstly, what was your religious background or spiritual background? Was it church, or was it like more spirit based, like we believe in spirits, or, you know, when you cross over that you're still something? Like, where was your belief system growing up?
I was very Christian, and I lived by it. But also I was like, I'm not even into women. So that also separated me from the collective. And the religion was saying, you know, if you don't like the opposite sex, then you're basically a demon. That part also awakened me too. I was like, wait, okay, there's truth in here, but something's not right. Then my sensitivity was also showing me there's a spiritual, energetic point here that is not talked about, but is talked about in parts of the Bible that were taken out, like the book of Enoch. So it started to make me, I was almost forced into expansion. And then that led me to all of this. And then when I would just call them angels, when they were like, well, we're just ETs and humans like to call us angels, then I was like, oh, now it's all getting pieced together here. Religion definitely would be a good stepping stone, because it sets up a good understanding of more and non-physicality, but really religion is just a perception of the spirit realm. And religion also has been manipulated to benefit humans. So you'll read it, like you read the Bible 20 years ago, and it was like, it was legal to beat your wife in the Bible. And it's like, that's not divine. That doesn't make any sense. So I actually had a conversation with the Christian guy the other day about this in the mall, because he was like, you know, God and Jesus, and me and him had a good conversation. Yeah. And after that, he was thinking deep. But it made me mad, because he was like, you know, if you don't like the opposite sex, there's something wrong with you, da-da-da. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to hell then. But one thing is for sure is I'm going to fight for the divine, period. I'm going to keep up with that. So there's this also awakening within religious people that, okay, this is a perception of the spirit realm, and it's also a manipulated perception. So if we could expand off of that, then it'll help people understand we can't be labeling everything angelic and demonic, because so much demonic stuff works through the church, and so much stuff that's angelic doesn't work through the church. So there's too much contradictions, too much manipulation. It's really all part of the experiment to have humans understand how the galaxy works. Humans are reliving galactic history here. Look at, like, seeing Black people's journey on this planet reminded me of Lyrans, because Lyrans are like the original beings of the galaxy, and all the other beings are like descendants of the Lyrans, or extensions of the Lyrans. And so to see Black people as that, the originals, and then see it extend, and then see like what the Lyrans went through. They went through slavery. They went through like genocide and all these different things for millions of years. And that's what humans on Earth went through too. We see beings that are enslaved by like the darkness and infusing these things on other other beings thinking that they're in the right, and then they realize they're in the wrong. Look at that. Everything that laid out galactic history is laying out here in a smaller form, which is why this planet is incredibly fascinating and why the ETs really are pressing this planet be protected, because so much different ways to use this planet, so much ways in things that have been built from it. This is very important. And humans are about to realize, we're not the only ones, but also that they played a role in this giant experiment. And then to have them go out in the stars, like ETs, when they come across humans physically, they're gonna be like, oh my God, like they're right here. It reminds me of Divergent series.
Yeah.
And in the last movie, they're like, oh my God, they're right in front of us. They realize it was a giant experiment the whole time. And they're like, oh my God, look, they're right in front of us. And they're like, four and all of them are like, what? Y'all was like watching us the entire time? It's just like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what do you have to say about people saying that the density of this planet is quite strong because all the bad things is happening, when obviously we hear that, the galactic history is kind of, I'm not saying it's just full of war, but we hear these wars that went on.
The Galactic War, yeah.
So by definition, if we are a replica of this but smaller, maybe this is after all not the most dense place. So what's your perception on that?
Ooh, there are way denser places out there for sure. Ooh, I could give y'all stories for days, but there are some planets that are darker, not malevolent, but darker on purpose. Like there's dark ocean planets, and there's just like darker beings, which of course there's malevolent beings there. And what's interesting is they're also linked with Earth. You'll see when you go out there, you're like, wow, all these places have some sort of affiliation with Earth. And that's why you may think you're kind of crazy at first, because you're like, oh, maybe my mind, but you get out of that real quick when you start seeing the truth. So they all have some sort of affiliation or knowing of Earth, and Earth is just a mix of everything. So when you go out there, you could see pieces of what you see on Earth out there in a grander form. So you could see dark ocean planets, dark jungle planets, dark desert planets, and then you could also see very positive ones of that too. So definitely not, this galaxy isn't all war, but many of our experiences have been of war, as well as love. I always say, my Lyran self used to always say love and war. Like it was always just like love and war. There are many who decided, like during the Lyran Wars, they remember the Lyran Wars and they remember escaping and then going to Sirius, and then from then on they always became water beings. So they'll always say, I'm a Sirian, but my roots is Lyran, because their soul decided to settle in Sirius for so long. So those are people that were like, you know what? I don't want to be part of the war. I just want to live. My soul has a different purpose in this galaxy. Yeah, and there's lots of people from other galaxies that come here. The Milky Way, this is stuff that I'm like, maybe this is too big. But the Milky Way is also like the capital of this sector of the universe, or this kind of like constellation of the universe. So there's like thousands of galaxies, and the Milky Way is like a mix of many of those as well. And so many beings come here and they see the Milky Way as like, it's an iconic galaxy, as well as because of the wars that have happened here. So other galaxies are like, oh, it's been like, I went out there and I'm like, wow, y'all kind of had it way easier out here. And they're like, it's not that, it's that y'all had it really hard. And we was watching that. I was like, oh, okay, you got to flip it around. So yeah, this galaxy and this galaxy is very unique. And think about it, it's like the capital of the sector of the universe. And then the Earth is the capital of the galaxy. Like, sometimes I'm like, this is stuff that I'm like, I don't know if I want to say if it's too much for people, but that is also the truth that I found super mind blowing.
So then what would you say then about, are we all Starseeds? No, there's hybrids. How do you know you're a Starseed? How do you know you're an hybrid? Because some people know, but some people don't know, and some are full blown. Like I know there's some people they've been put here on this planet, but they are full
blown
from from elsewhere. So even though they look like us,
some of them don't all the way. You can have a look at them and you're like, oh, you're not
Right.
fully. Even
Yeah.
some of your features are like, no.
so how do you know that? And for someone that may want to get in touch with the galactic sides or aspect, how do you do that?
If you
This is
have any
definitely
advice.
a very soul-based thing. The only way, I mean, no one can really teach you to see. You have to see yourself, and the divine and your spirit guides are going to support that. Your spirit team, which is your spirit guides, ancestors, other extraterrestrials that are here, that are part of your soul family, they're supporting and they're watching. They're like I would say your guides are like your life managers. They're managing everything. Okay, he's gonna awaken here. Okay, then we're gonna send in this person. Okay, and this is gonna happen. So it's not that every moment is decided, but certain moments that are meant to happen are decided. So it's like, okay, once he gets in this mode, then he's gonna realize that he's a Lyran, and then he's gonna be sent on mission, and then so it's like set up for a journey that you also said that you agreed. Okay, I need to have this and that because I'm going to do this, and then this is my goal here. So everybody here, it's actually a good question. If you want to get real Arcturian, I say real smart, we could be like, okay, yeah, everybody's a starseed. But if you want to get in the sense that I want to get on a more soul-based way, that not everybody's a starseed, because there are souls that have come from the galaxy and incarnated here, but have stayed here basically for a very, 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 very long time. So you could say that they're earth-based souls. There are some young souls that were split off from source not too long ago in galactic history, like a few million years ago. And they're here to learn. They need to learn. They want to learn the stuff that ancient souls have underwent and learned. So you hear the old soul, new soul thing, true thing. Then there's the stuff with, well, where are you from? Well, there are certain traits that you have and which are granted to you from your soul. If you really love water. Like, I was obsessed with mermaids at one point and obsessed with Avatar. And I realized, whoa, I had many incarnations as a water being and as like literally a Na'vi on Pandora, a real planet. So to see that, it started to like make sense on what I was drawn to from when I was young. Me always wanted to take care of people. Very like, I guess you could say a very Lyran leader trait. Like I felt like it was my duty to take care of everybody. And I had to like learn how to not need to feel like I need to take care of everybody. So there are certain traits that you'll notice that come with certain beings. And yeah, you probably may have to research the different starseed heritages. But even then when you read it, it's like, oh, Lyran, Orion, and all of this stuff. You'll realize you're kind of a mix. Like me, my core is Lyran. My soul always lived by Lyran. But the Lyran way that me and my soul tribe lived by is our galaxy is the home. When our home planet was destroyed, it was like our galaxy is our home. I'll never forget first looking at the galaxy. And the way I look at the galaxy now always gives me deja vu, because every lifetime I would look at the galaxy from away every single time and be like, this is my home. Every lifetime, this is my home. This is my home. So like the beginning, I looked at the galaxy and I'm like, this place is huge. This is our new home. Like, how are we going to find our family? How are we going to find a new home? All of this. But that led to millions of years incarnating everywhere and making the entire galaxy home. Remember saying, okay, we gotta start incarnating because we gotta make this home now. Now that it is, I have all this history from everywhere. Like I have family that's insectoids, Syrians, Greys, and I'm seeing all these incarnations, but I always held the same thing of this galaxy is my home and the Lyran way is home. And everybody is our family. Everybody's an extension of us. It's like being black and being like, well, look at the Asians, look at the Native Americans, look at the white people. They're us too, just descendants of us. It's like doing that. And so getting to understand your heritage is like seeing where you incarnated, what your egos were, is getting an understanding. It's like, you want to say you're an Orion starseed, but you see you incarnated in other areas. You can say, oh, I'm an Orion starseed because majority of my incarnations and my culture is Orion. So it definitely causes you to really self-reflect on who you are, your being, what you've always felt. And that will kind of give you an understanding of who you are. It definitely is a journey, and one that is, you could research as much as you want, but it's always going to be understood by you and then the lifetimes that come in as you align with that understanding.
Perfect.
Yeah, well explained.
That makes it clear for people. Because as you were saying, they come in. Certainly for me, it's since I've even allowed the idea of it to be a reality for me, I've realized, okay, and then memories start coming back. And then you're like, oh, wow. So it's like you're unfolding this, it's like this flower's coming into bloom, and just with every petal that just opens, you're like, okay, this is deeper than I thought. This is deeper than I thought. It's like that. It's that type of feel. How do you ground yourself in this? Because I know certainly with me, like, especially if I have a week where I'm astral traveling a lot, or if I'm having OBEs a lot. And for me, I use astral travel and OBE interchangeably. But especially if I'm having some of these and I know that they're galactic or whatever, I'll have a time where I deliberately like, okay, I'm taking a break just so I can ground myself. Mm-hmm. I'll just do regular human stuff. I'll try and eat sugary stuff, like anything to kind of ground me down. Make sure that I go out, have fresh air, that's my stuff. Mm-hmm. How do you go about that?
I make sure that for me, it's always awareness. When I was younger, I'd always get hyper awareness attacks where I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm in a body. How do I move my hand with my thoughts? I'm seeing on my eyes. And it got to the point where they were like, we don't know what this kid's talking about. Like, go play. We'll find you a therapist later. And every time it was like, I would just be like more aware of myself in a way that no one else understood. And so that made me aware more of energy and who I was. I always, from young, was like, this body's just a vehicle. But I didn't understand what that fully meant until later. And so now I use this hyper awareness. I used to run from it like it was a demon. Now I'm like, okay, this is actually incredibly useful, because with me being aware that this body's for me to use, I always say now when I'm astral traveling, I'll be like, I got to go back to my vessel. So like, even I like to have an astral watch, and it lets me know what time it is. Or like some of the ETs will be like, oh, it's time for you to go back to Earth soon, go back to the physical. And I'm like, okay, like I always say bye. I'm like, okay, I'll see y'all like in a little while. And then my alarm goes, and it just like wakes up. So right away, I started to ground, because you could kind of like, people call it spiritual psychosis. Yes, that's true. That could happen where maybe you get kind of spiritually like, oh, like you're too hyper aware of the energy and you kind of like get like OCD about it. Or where you're so trapped within the spiritual realm that you detach from the physical, and then people put you in a mental hospital because they're like, we don't know what's going on with them yet. But they're just detached too much from the physical. So I realized you got to have a balance. So I would always say I have two lives that mean one thing. So I have my physical life where I'm Cash, and I wake up in the morning. I get excited because I'm like, I have a life on Earth. I have a life in a physical mission. I like get ready. I'm like not all the time will I be excited, but like I'm always like, okay, let's go. Let's do this thing. Like, what do y'all want me to do today? So what I experience in the physical, I only get to experience it in this way in the physical. Without a physical vessel, I wouldn't get to experience it like this. So I'm always incredibly, incredibly grateful that I'm here doing this and I get to live a physical life. What is it like to chat with humans? Chat about just regular human stuff. Go to the bar, which is like, I always call it just human stuff. I'm like, you know what? Let me do some human stuff, talk human stuff. And then I get bored and then want to do something else. But I get to live as a human. That's part of my experience. So I get to do that, and I get to experience this linear time, unlike my spirit. So when I go in the astral, I could time travel. I could go wherever I want, on planet, off planet. So I get two experiences that mean one thing and that are interchangeable. That to me is grounding. Before, it was kind of hard because I was like, I just always wanted to go to damn sleep so I could go into astral. Sometimes I didn't want to astral travel at one point. I was like, no. I just want to stay in the physical for a bit because I was getting tired of so much missions. But I had to train my spirit, my body to be able to do this more. When I would have a seizure, sometimes I would crave heavy food, which was the opposite of what people would teach you. Oh, eat light. Now it's at the point where I don't seize out anymore. So I have to eat light. My body wants to purge and I have to rest. But before, it was like I would have a seizure and wake up and it'd feel like I'm in a whole new universe. I'd be like, whoa, like I'm in a whole nother timeline here. And I could sense the reality different. It was literally, that's why we call it like a reboot. It's like my whole system. It's like I would literally stop breathing. I would die and just come back every single time, every month. And it gave me something new, a new awareness. But sometimes I'd wake up and my awareness would be so in the astral, in the spirit realm. It'd feel like I'm I'm floating in my body like this. And my guides would be like, you need to eat some heavy damn food. And I'll just crave KFC. I'm like, ew, like KFC? But then I'd go there and after that, I'm like, like that was so good. And then my body, I can feel my energy go, ew. It's like it grounds back in the physical. So there'll be times when I have to eat heavier to ground, and I feel my body go, and it like grounds back. And then sometimes now like my body, my vibrational vessel needs to rise. So I can't eat heavy. And if I do, my body's like, no, we can't do that. So I had to actually explore with some ETs. I'm like, do y'all eat meat? Because they always say don't eat meat. Some Pleiadians are like the Taigetans. They're like, yeah, we eat meat. But we accept that it may slow down the energetic process to ascension. Which they've accepted. They're like, look, of course we ascended as you look at us right now. But part of our culture is to eat meat. Like the reptilians, they love to eat meat, but many of them are still higher vibrational. So they're like, it's just a cultural thing and you're just aware of what does what to your vibration.
So
beautiful.
I've heard something and I was like, wait, what? You say astral watch. So can you tell us more about
and
this?
You love watches. And what did I write down when he was chatting?
Mind blowing. I was like, okay, hold on. There's a watch?
Look what I wrote down literally as he's chatting. I said
time travel.
And then you literally like time travel. So we're on.
We're
locked
about
in.
all of these concepts of time. But astral watch.
First the astral watch.
How do you get one? And
how do you do it? How do you use it?
Yeah, how do you use it?
So the ETs actually gave it to me. And I didn't even know astral technology was kind of like that. I was like, this is like a technology, but in the astral. And it's like, I actually got a tattoo to represent it on my wrist. Mm-hmm. And so it's literally like...
sorry, Cash. Can you bring it a little closer? Like,
you want to see it?
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So from what shape is that? Is that a snake?
It's like a snake spiral.
My gosh.
Yeah. All my runes actually represent something different for me. They all represent different powers or things or lifetimes. And so this one I got to represent my astral watch. And I use it to I hit up like my friends that are in the physical or in the astral. Like we talk through the watch. I like to look at the galactic map on it. And it's kind of like... It's almost like a phone in the astral realm for me. And so I like to even I use astral DMs on it. Like if a being DMs me, like while I'm in the physical, they'll just telepathically tell me. But in the astral, I'll just get it on my watch and I'll be like, oh, Andromedan, da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, okay. And I just let them know what's good. It kind of feels like the physical sometimes.
So
but if anything, it's more real than the physical.
I'm seeing like a spiral, which represent, I guess, the concept of time, I suppose, because it's not linear. Like most of the people now starting realizing there's something about that. And I'm thinking can you perceive your watch while you're in your body, in your vessel? Can you actually perceive it, or it's only when you decouple from your body that you can actually see the watch?
I'll explain it like this. It's like when I'm in the physical, everything that's energetic remains spiritual. Like I could perceive it clear, but it remains spiritual. Like when a spirit comes in, I don't see it like a physical person. I see it like a spirit, and I'm aware of what they look like. Or ET, if they're interdimensional, I see what they look like. But when I'm in the astral, everything in the astral is like physical, if you want to say it like that. And then everything that's physical becomes like another realm. It's like you put your hand through the TV, put your hand through the bed. It's like that. So when I'm in the physical, it really is there. Like I look at it and I see an energetic watch that I can interact with. And sometimes it's like I get an alarm. But usually it's like linked with telepathy. I'm like, you know what? Just tell me telepathically and I got it. And then when I go in the astral, then it's literally like a watch that I could like cloak and like see if it's there or not. So I do it also in the physical where I could cloak it. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I could see it in both realms.
So much synchronicity.
That is
literally
awesome. It's like
this is blowing my mind. This is wonderful. This is why I came here, because this is why I came to Earth. Like, this is why I came to this realm, for these like fantastic moments where it's like, oh wow, oh yeah, me too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's that. So have you finished about the watch?
That's it.
I know, it's fun, right? Okay, so now time travel. I wanted to touch on time travel because so much of my Silathian connections is where I have gone and they've just been so, like, that's where I've really locked in with time travel. Like when they come and they tell me what I need to do, I mean, to the point where like I go time traveling, like even with my little ones. My two girls, they time travel as well.
Wow.
And I've been time traveling for a while, but not knowing what it is. I find out what it is, I get the directive, and I'm there. I go. I've been back and forth, alternate timelines, shutting down timelines, because, you know, so many timelines were messed about with and have been used as ways to harvest energies from certain souls here unknowingly. So they kind of had to be dissolved. And it's like now everyone who's awakening is realizing, especially Starseeds, there's so many timelines that need to be collapsed. So I understand why we even go and do time travel. How has your experience of time travel been, and what has it meant for you? Has it been linked to your missions, and has it overlapped with your personal soul missions as well?
There were lifetimes when I did time travel, and this was during I guess you could say the Orion Wars, which is like kind of like Star Wars, just without the lightsabers. And we used to time travel to basically change something, to heal something in order to heal where we're going. And so I would time travel in my astral travels in this lifetime to understand things in order to help this timeline. So like I remember time traveling to a parallel reality of Earth. And of course, these things always feel just like the physical. So these ETs were like, we're going to teach you how to time travel. We're going to teach you how to use black holes too. So it was like they showed me this in-between realm. Like they were like, okay, make a portal here. You can make a portal out of anything. Like you make a portal out of go to a park and make, like you could astral travel to a kid's park and make like a portal out the slide or out of a door. And then you go in it and then you go in this in-between. There's all these like bubbles, which are like multiverses. The way it felt was super ominous. And then when you choose one, then it's like a timeline within the universe. So the one that I went to, actually, they always say go with a partner. So I brought my sister with me and we go, and it's like you could be in that timeline. I remember the timeline was Earth and I was in like what looked like Europe, but you could see some flying cars and like you could see some like there was an ET awareness, like there was extraterrestrials. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go and see our family in this one. But as we're making our way there, people are already hearing there's someone from another universe or a timeline. And people were like talking. And then they were like, oh, it's you. You're from this other timeline? And I was like, yeah, right? Like we just come from here. But they don't like that. But I didn't know why. So they started kind of like hunting us and we was on the run. I go to our house and then we see a version of me and my sister there. And they're like, you can't be here right now. Like, you guys gotta go. And my sister started to live in that timeline like it was hers. And it was like, I had to wake her up and be like, yo, this isn't our timeline. And she was like, oh yeah, let's go. So we just made a portal out of like the like, it was like a mirror or like a window. And then we came back and then we popped back in our bodies. And that was, I had just talked to my guides after. I'm like, what was that all about? Oh, well, you have to go in partners to prevent drifting, to prevent you from like forgetting that you're not in your timeline. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Always go with partners. From then on, anytime I time traveled, it would be with someone that I know here or an ET that I know that I didn't know I know. Yeah, it'd be like that. I did realize that time traveling, people would always be like, oh, it's dangerous. I wouldn't say it's dangerous because the ETs are always going to stop you or protect you if you're doing something you're not supposed to do. But it can, that moment was showing me how in time it could be hard. Now, actually, while I was there, I talked to the version of me there. I'm like, what's up with this? Why can't we be here? Well, people are used to or have always seen people from other timelines come into their timeline to cause issues. It would just cause issues in whatever way it is, which reminds me of beginning of galactic history with beings coming through a black hole to this one, which is also how the Lyran Wars kind of kicked off. But it was all part of the divine plan at the end of the day. So to see that, we're like, okay, that was meant to happen. But just the fact that it linked up like that, like coming from another timeline universe and coming here and messing around with stuff, yeah, it could cause issues.
Many of us are experiencing different timeline during dream state.
Yeah.
So my question was, okay, if that is the case, how do you, because dream state is quite difficult to become conscious, and a lot of people find it hard to say, okay, let me wake up out of this dream. And we've seen like many influences as well. So when you've got other entities or beings that are trying to influence that dream state, and when you say drifting, it got me thinking about almost as if your sister was actually astral traveling with you, but then starting falling in the dream states. That's a bit what sounded like. And I'm like, we often find ourselves dealing with different timelines, or that happened to me a couple of times where I'm in dream state. I kind of wake myself up out of that dream and realize, okay, this is what's happening, and then get more consciousness and can come out of it. Would you say that even if you're drifting, do you think you have the ability once you wake up from that reality to come back to your current timeline?
Yeah, so I have time travel one time by my guides kind of forcing me to at the beginning. And it was time traveling me to a timeline where everybody hated me. So this is kind of like a darker version, but like, I'm gonna get to the point. So I was brought here and everybody hated me. And I was there for 3 days, what felt like 3 days. And I'd wake up and I'd go to sleep, wake up in the astral realm in this reality. And I had this awareness that it wasn't mine, but I also was living it like it was. So at one point I just started living it like it was regular. And there'd be times where I'd be so upset because I'm like, everybody, even my mama hates me. What's up with this? And I remember at one point when I reached the 72-hour mark, I said in my head, I wiped my tears and I was like, you know what? F this, man. I'm going to just do my thing. I'm going to just do what I do and I don't care if everybody hates me. Right then when I truly had that freedom awakening in myself, then this vortex appeared in the corner of the room. Now, remember, it feels just like the physical. So to see a vortex, I was like, what the hell? And then everything started getting sucked in. And then I was like, whoa, and I got sucked in. And then I woke up in my body and I was like, what? And I woke up like that. And one of the odds as well, that right after I wake up, all my family comes to my room and starts cuddling with me. And they don't usually do that. So I was like, it's like my guides were like, here, you back in the right reality, right?
You earned this.
Yeah. It sounds like it really sounds like you collapsed a timeline, because those experiences those different experiences that me and Shem, we've been having, where you experience something in the dream state and sometimes it's all right, sometimes it's like foreign. It's like, nah, I don't recognize that reality. Like, it's not me, or I don't like what's going on. And then as you not judging it, or you stop caring, like there's sort of like a collapsing that happened. And then you wake up. Yeah.
So literally, I was brought there to learn this lesson, and they were like, "We just needed you to go to that timeline to learn to not care what people think anymore." And it did teach me a lot because I really was there for 3 days. So it was like 3 days. I learned the lesson that took me 3 days to learn within 7-8 hours of sleep. So I was like, okay, if y'all want me to, I was actually mad when I got up. I was like, what the hell? Why would y'all do that to me? Oh, we just need you to learn this lesson. I was like, oh, okay. So then I started having positive versions of that as well, where maybe I'm in a relationship or I have a business that I always wanted to build, and I'm learning lessons during that, and I take that back here. So I'm like, okay, I want my business to kind of look like how that one was. And I learned, okay, don't place these type of people to do that, or don't act like this to do it more like this. Like literally learn lessons, positive or negative, no matter what the situation was. And from then on, I always use time traveling like that. I'm like, I just want to time travel to learn these lessons so I could take it back into this reality that I'm experiencing as linear time.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other day I went through that as well, as far as like my art stuff is concerned. But what I found out is if you tap back into it, what traveling like that allows you to do is be able to tap back into what frequency to hold, like what feeling to recall.
That's it,
so
right
that when
there.
you come here, you can feel that feeling, you remember it, you feel that feeling, and then that's it. Boom, you're locked in. You're on that channel. You're on that frequency, so you can manifest that here. But it's it's giving you reference points to the things you want, to your desires, or the things that you don't want. So you know, this feels like that. No, we're not locked. We're gonna release this one from the whole entire web here. Flick that one off the web, and then the ones you love, you can just be like, I remember that, I'm locked in. Yep, that's how it feels in your chest, that's how it feels in your body, and you kind of just can lock back in. You explained it so well, but yeah, yes, I feel that. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Honestly, I'm not even saying this to be extra, but this is like a Tuesday. I mean, this should be like a Tuesday night for everybody, where it's like, oh, you know what? I need to experience this timeline. Let me do this, or let me, guys, can y'all, I see there's something I need to learn. Can you just show me in the astral realm? It makes it way easier. Like the fact that people have lost touch with this, I see why humanity's growth has been so treacherous. Because without that spiritual living, you lose yourself, and the evolution's also slower. Imagine you could learn so many lessons within one night, and what humans like to call quantum leaping. You're literally quantum leaping into a new energy, a new reality. So your timeline's like this. It's like your guys can see, oh, the timeline they're going to crash. Their business is going to crash like hell. Okay, let's have them experience this natural realm so they see. And then you wake up and you've now your timeline's changed. Now you're like, oh, I know what to do, and now that business won't crash because you've learned what you needed to. So the fact that this is something that we've lost and gaining again, I'm glad that we're gaining it back again, because this should be what everybody does in whatever form resonates with them and that they need.
So
absolutely.
Talking about, learning, teaching, what about astral school?
Yeah.
You know a lot about it. So
I've experienced it, he has, but I do share some of this with my community. But what point you touched on right there of this being a Tuesday, that's literally what type of information that we are choosing to share with people. Like, lock back into that so you can just start living your life, having the earthly experience you came for. And this is like your birthright to have to live this way. Yeah. So like Amondi said, with lessons, how have you integrated some of the lessons that you've learned over there?
Yeah, because I was thinking about this this aspect of astral schools and the thing you learn on the other side. But it's not always easy. I'm just going to give you my personal experience. So I had many instances, and I wasn't really astral traveling, or maybe I was, but my consciousness wasn't high enough. But I felt like I was learning a lot, and come back to this reality, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, so many information I cannot recall, and then go back to sleep and then again learning all of it, and come back, waking up 3 or 4 times during the night, not to go to toilet or anything like that, just waking up like almost as an integration. So that's why we want you to explain these things, because you do have a video where you talk about you've been teaching to children, I think.
And vice versa. You've been in lessons as well.
Yeah. So,
how's that been for you?
How's that been for you? Yeah.
I love Astral School. I started going and learning from, it was like literally schools for astral travelers. Oh, that was so fun at the beginning. Like I was there for days. There'd be like dorms, and I'd make friends with different astral travelers on and off planet. I'll never forget the first guy that he told me was from Shenzhen, China. And we were like really close. And then after when it was time to leave and we was packing up, which means we were about to wake up, I was like, like, I hope I see you one day in the physical. And today I still hope I do. But learning from these ETs in this school, be able to engage with people, then it's like you level up, then you graduate, and then you go to like a university, you end up going to like Melchizedek, and then you graduate from that, and then you can make your own school and teach. It definitely is what people call spiritual status or cosmic identity. You spiritually evolve to the point where your spirit is, you may not be fully aware of what you're doing in the astral or what's going on, but you remember pieces as you're supposed to. So you can feel in your spirit that you're growing, you're evolving, and your astral self is incredibly advanced because you're like, well, I'm healing this, I'm doing that, I'm bringing people on these trips, and you're not even like trying. It's letting you know that your spirit is incredibly evolved and has been in training. Some classes, I remember some of what I learned. Many things that I was meant to remember, I was meant to remember and like do it in the physical. So like they were teaching me, I remember at the beginning, about how to spot dark entities in the astral and in the physical, how to combat energies or how to lock energies in, how to time. I learned from in school, in the astral schools, how to time travel and all of that stuff. So there are times when you can only learn these things in the astral realm and from extraterrestrials. And people underestimate, they hear, they're like, oh, you're just dreaming, you're in school. Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you'll just have a dream that you're in school and you're learning stuff. And that is your mind translating what you're doing in the astral within a dream state. Some people are dreaming that they're fighting people and fighting demons, but it's just a dream. Okay, well, your dream's telling you what you're doing out of body in the astral realm. So you may notice that you dream in school, or you're dreaming that you're going to school. I remember times when I would try, I'm like, you know what? I know I'm done in school, but let me go back to astral school. And I'll go there and the people will be like, hey, what are you doing here? Like you graduated. Or it'd be like I'm going there and doing extra classes that I don't need to do. So I realized, oh, I'm basically done here. There's nothing more I need to do here. Now it's time to teach. So to make astral schools and to bring people physically and astrally there, that is one of the greatest things is astral school. And astral training grounds. For those who are watching, I know we're talking about, we know exactly what that is. We loved going there to play all these different games that helped us train. Oh my God. Like it feels like you go there and it's like an arena and there's all these games on the board and it's like, what game do you want to play? And you jump in on the arena and you play it and it's like training. And there's even like competitions between other astral travelers and ETs. Like you're like, like a fish being pulls up and it's like, you guys want to play tag with swords in the playground? Okay, let's do it. And it's like we get to train as warriors together. You'll meet some amazing ETs that are always going to be your homies after that.
Oh, absolutely. My son and me have traveled. That's how I found out babies ain't babies. Babies are just babies here. They're grown and they're doing their whole entire life over there. And you have to kind of treat them as such, treat them with that type of respect. I mean, their communication skills, their guidance, yes, you need them over here while they have their human experience. But their navigation system is locked in and they are souls. They are eternal souls. They have already their purpose, their plan, their guides, their set of whatever, and you just fit in. You find out how you fit into that story. So those games there, the first time I ever played one was with my little son, and he was just like, he wasn't even 1 yet. And when I saw him, he was like, hey, Mom, it's me. And I was like, oh, hi. And then we went, he's like, yep, we went into this arena, we were playing with these other people. I was like, yo, this is fun. Is this what you're doing? Okay. It was like that. So how do you navigate that now? For now you're learning, because now you are teaching, and how does that sync up with your teaching that you do on this side? Because I know, like you were saying, it merges. It really merges. Like us, we're just starting now to say, all right, we're ready to teach. Like this certain knowledge that we have that we're like, this needs to be shared. How do you navigate that between the two?
It's always a level of understanding and wisdom that you attain. So you can get the knowledge, but then it's like the wisdom is from experience. So you become a teacher when you really have soaked in that knowledge with wisdom. And so then it's like you get the go ahead from the spirit realm and the different beings like, yep, you're ready to teach. You can feel it. I'm ready to teach. And you always are still learning, of course, as a teacher, but you're at the level where you can now give out information. So there'll be some assignments or missions that they'll give me in the physical, in which they provide me with spaces to teach, or people come to me and they're like, can you teach us or whatever it is? So then when I'm being called by spirit to do that, I'm like, okay, y'all want me to do this? Or I'm being called to open up this space and then allow spirit to send them my way. So it actually started with me mentoring kids, like just at the parks. Like I'd go to the parks and the kids would call it spirit class, and we'd sit in like a circle, just like the ancestors, and we would talk about spirituality. You know, the spirits would be around, so I'd be communicating with the spirits for them. And so for them to see that the spirit realm is real in their eyes, that was money to me. That was the real money. And for the spirits to be in alignment, that was all I wanted. And it got to the point where I had to stop doing that, because then people thought it was creepy that a black guy was talking about spirituality at a park with the kids. So I was like, I had to lock in with like earth rules. I was like, oh, earth way, that's kind of weird. I was like, I totally understand. So let me not do that no more. So then I started morphing into teaching online and teaching with like at houses with the parents and stuff like working with the parents more in depth. So I realized, I can't just be going around doing whatever, even though my heart's in the right place. Humans here don't know like how we know. So I was like, they're not in the same way of being. So I had to start really understanding how humans work. Yeah. And then from there, I was able to teach better.
Oh, wonderful. I see that, especially when it comes to other people's kids. Don't play with people's kids. Like, especially if you're from an understanding that those are mine. There's some things that they don't even know about your teaching. Teaching them what? We are Baptists. What are you teaching them? Is that type of feel as well. There's many toes for you to step on in that place there. Yeah. But I get that, and you moving forward and still like transforming that space for people so that the kids can still have a place to learn those things with their parents. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing, really.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I want to continue to do this stuff for the world. You know, my town was the practice area, and for me to get started, now I'm ready to do it for the world and for everybody. And any way I could be there for the entire planet, that's my duty.
So in your video, there's one video you're talking about it quite extensively. It's the concept of fame, being famous on the other side, beyond the veil. So I would then ask you, how do you remain grounded?
You know when people's like, oh my gosh. I know as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. It's not the same concept as fame as here. So but it's a great way to bridge the understanding for people who are here and listen to it. It's more of a spiritual notoriety.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So your soul has a lot.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, your soul's got a lot of history. So old souls, of course, you may notice some old souls got just more spiritual power, more spiritual notoriety, or like the ETs and spirits just like respect them more and know them. Yeah, it's because their soul has done a lot within the galaxy or within the universe, whatever you would like to say. So it's like you go out there and it's like the ETs. Some ETs, you go there and they're like, yo, bless, you're here right now. And it's like, whoa, I remember this happened with the grasshoppers. I was like, they're like, where were you? We needed you at one point. You weren't here. And I was like, oh my God, I almost like started crying. I was like, I just had this remembrance of like, I said I'd protect them, but then I went to Earth. And they were like, no, it's okay because you helping Earth, you're helping us too. So like, we're supporting you. You just could just call on us and we got you. I wake up and my backyard's like full of grasshoppers. And I'm like, okay, y'all just sell me in the physical, like, don't remember we got you. So then I'm like, okay, there's no way I could like not remember. And so you'll just realize that your soul has experience and has done stuff that the other spirits that are here know of or out there know of. So it's just about like, if you on Earth are always traveling to Florida and you're always going to the same place, people are going to know of you, especially if you're running a business there. People are going to know of you. And you could even move to China and people will know about your business. It's just like that here. So people be like, hey, I saw what you was doing. You're just known for what your spirit has done in many different vessels around the area. So you become, people will be like, oh, well, royal souls and stuff. People are like, oh, well, I'm royalty. Well, royalty here is just a mock. They're trying to mock what they've seen out there. Royalty out there, back home, is about your spirit's responsibility and its strength. If your soul's duty was to guide and protect a certain collective, you are the collective is you. So you're always going to be way more sensitive. Your duty is to serve them and for them to basically, you represent that collective. So we've mixed up royalty here and it's become egocentric, but that's because they were trying to mimic what they've seen out there. Just like you've seen in like what we would say New Egypt. It was like that. They kind of had this egocentric type of way of being because they was trying to mimic what they saw their star brothers and sisters that came down was doing. So it's about responsibility and power. The universe gives you a certain power for the certain responsibility, and your soul's used to, especially if you're a royal soul, your soul's used to that responsibility and it's skilled in that. So no matter where it goes, it's always going to have that spirit power of a leader. So it all depends on who you are as a soul, but especially all the starseeds here have a sort of notoriety or status that may be considered higher, but really just means you have more responsibility, a certain duty.
Yeah, I like to say that it's like how far have you casted your net, not how high have you built your mountain. It's like it's expansive, not I'm up here and you're down there. It's just wider. Like that's the only way I see it, because it's not like a hierarchy thing. Because you're right, they twisted that royal thing, boy. And sometimes I hear, especially like lots of black people saying we were kings and queens, and I'm like, not how you're saying it, sweetie. No, it's like but no. And that's what I really want people to see, because if we start going by that, then you start thinking, well, I've got to ascend, and I've got to, and I'm not there yet. And no, you're already it. You're already there. You already are doing all these things. It's about remembering that you're doing it, remembering that you've done it. You know,
that I like wonderful. How you said that, remembering that you've done it and remembering that's what you're here to do too. You lock in, because you learn to operate above your ego. So like, I am Cash and I'm black with locks and I'm doing this, but really my soul's duty, I know what my soul's here to do, and I get to experience being a black man on this planet and doing what I do as a black man. I'm not attached to this ego. That's a problem. People get attached to, like they'd be like, well, I'm this, and who they associate their muscles or what they've built and what they've done as them, while they're way, way beyond that. So we can have a good relationship with your ego and your soul. That's important. I hate when people say ego death. Or let me rephrase. I don't like when people say they're having an ego death, because you can't kill the ego. That's something you need. If you can't do your mission here if you don't have an ego, right? You need
the personality base.
Yeah, you got to have personality.
You need the experience base to be able to draw from.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. So
it has to be
if you
integrated.
can't do that, then you're gonna have ego doesn't just be a soul. It's not gonna work. And if you're just soul based and or you're just ego based and you abandon your soul, you're gonna lose. So you got to balance both.
I think it's a very, like royalty and being royal, it's ego. The concept it's a very augmented term. It's been distorted. It's gone through the distortion like most of the words that we use. That's part of what we've decided to share as well. Like, this is part of the knowledge base we're sharing with people, that lots of the words we use have been gone through distortion. So taking them back to the root of it, like on a soul level, what it means to you. You know what I mean?
Everything is so soul based that getting people to simply to tell the masses time to connect back with your soul, and making, I found this interesting, is a government agent was saying how everything related to extraterrestrials and UFOs is tied with spirituality and religion. And he's like, we can't escape this. Actually, I think this was a week ago he said this. And he's like, it was on Joe Rogan. He's like, we can't escape that it's tied with religion and spirituality. So there's a soul aspect to this that we don't understand, which they do understand. And they're like, we gotta tell people about this. And that is a core part of it, is that soul aspect. And then the true royal souls. Imagine when people figure out that the angels and the royalty were among them the entire time. It's like Jesus coming as a black man and then people belittling him and then realizing, oh shoot, that was Jesus the entire time. That was part of the experiment and is part of the experiment, which I find even more fun. It's like, oh, they don't realize that we've been doing this in the galaxy for a long time. We just here to help out our little brothers and sisters that are humans here. And then when they see that, then we get to help them out in a different way with more awareness. We could really, instead of being like, oh, we like pretending that we just human, we get to be like, look, we wanted you too, and we get to help you with this greater wisdom from our soul that's here to help you as a soul too.
You've mentioned a couple of times being a black man. And I know for a fact that the community has a huge appetite to know where do black people come from and what's going on around the concept of race. And Shem has mentioned a couple of times her own experience about the Salanthian. You've got
and
similar... as well.
And some other blue people as well, but
right.
that's a whole other
But let's
bag.
not talk about the blue people.
All right,
we're
we'll
going
move
to
on.
confuse everyone.
Stop. Pause.
You've got a similar experience as well. So could you define the concept of race to you? What does it mean? And could you also define us as seeing ourselves as black people, whether you African American or you African or Caribbean, doesn't matter where you're from really, but what does it mean?
As that strain, like as that choice, because you know we all choose what vessel we want to come down in this time.
Yes.
And I'm
what
asking,
experience does that choice of avatar give us?
Yeah, and I'm asking this because I have my own interpretation, but I know the community has been asking like, yo, guys, could you tell us more about it? Because we here like not really understanding what's going on. So that'd be really welcome from you, because I know you got a lot of knowledge regarding this as well.
So having the different types of humans was actually part of the experiment as well, which is what I love. Look at the planet and how the different, like, look at the way that the land is even structured, which is what Gaia structured on purpose with herself. Was like, you see North America, South America, Caribbean. Then you see like a whole side of the planet that's just water and like islands. Then you see like Asia and Europe. Like it's so sectored perfectly for certain evolution of human to evolve there and adapt there, which I found extremely fascinating. Now, every version of human you see, like we said before, there's a version of ET that looks just like that, which was also designed on purpose. So there's ET DNA within all of us. And so choosing your avatar. It's like really you choosing what you want to jump into. It's like, what experience do I need? What people need help? what vessel do I want to use for this mission, and what vessel do people need to see this soul as. So like I could have easily chosen like one that looked like the form that I had before this, which was like a Pleiadian woman with long blonde hair, blue eyes, but they didn't need a Pleiadian looking woman for this mission I'm on. They needed a black man with locks. And so that is an experience that I wanted. I wanted to have this experience as an original human, I like to call it before, and to lead the people in that form, because not forgetting what the original seeded people were and how those people are now being brought into awareness of them being the original people on Earth too. So to step into this role that I'm in as an original human was how it was designed to be. Now, some are like, I need to be a white woman, I need to be a healer or a mage, and to guide people as that, then they choose that. They don't want the experience of, they don't need the experience of being black in America. They need the experience of being white in Costa Rica or white in Switzerland or something like that. There's certain things that they need to happen in their life that they can only get from a certain group of human experience, and a certain mission that they have that they need to have a certain look. And so that is essential. So you actually dictate, okay, I got to incarnate this. I got this and that to do. What's the form? Okay, I need to be like, I'm actually more used to being in a female body, but I could be a man and I could be masculine. I like that too. So it's like, okay, then I'm going to incarnate as a man. I'm going to make sure I'm doing it like this, how I want to. So we always choose, but it's also kind of set up like, oh, you got this to do on Earth. You have to go in this form so you can have that. And your spirit is used to, for example, it's like your spirit is used to being alone and fighting alone. Now you're a commander in the GFL or you're a lieutenant in the GFL. Your soul is used to this experience and it's really powerful in this experience. We need you to experience that one more time on Earth because we're going to give you this role and we need someone to lay out this role. It's like, imagine seeing my body just standing there like this. Like, we need someone to fill that body. We need a strong spirit that's going to be able to handle what this vessel needs to experience. Then it's like, oh, well, we're going to get a Lyran soul to do that. Oh, this Lyran soul also has a built up karma in which they need to experience on Earth, and a dharma in which the universe basically owes them. So maybe in this lifetime, they're going to be really rich because they've done so much in the galaxy that hasn't been given to them yet, or they've done so much horrible in the galaxy and they need to go to Earth and experience a lot of stuff to check them and for them to learn as a spirit. So as you can see, there's so many factors that comes along with it. So you hear the karma, dharma, you hear the mission and also the experience. Yeah, it all ties in this really cool Earth experiment way. As you can see, it's so multifaceted that it's like you start to ask, like, what is Earth? Like, you can't just say it's one thing. There's so much to this planet, and which makes it so amazing. This definitely is one of my favorite planets. And I'll say this too, is that this planet reminds me of the homeworlds that were destroyed in Lyra. And it's connected energetically to Lyran planets. So many Lyrans are like, we're just returning home, or you'll hear them say, we get to save Lyra again. This is like our second chance. Like for me to say this planet, I'm looking around, I'm like, this planet reminds me of Avalonia. Like I get to return home in a physical sense again, but now I get to save it in the way I didn't get to. So that also means a lot to my spirit and why I chose this as well.
Wonderful. I hope that should answer for some people, because I've even had, like, our community as well is so vast. It's everybody from all walks of life, different races, different past religions, different places in the world. But the one thing is the remembrance that we all share. So, and I've even had people in the comment section being like, why are there so many black people here? And I'm like, I don't know, sis. And I know you're not black, but you vibes in. So, I mean, don't let this avatar fool you. There's obviously another vibration that you are attracted to here. Like, and that's what I'm trying to have people who are asking themselves that make that tilt. Just tilt the lens a little bit and see it just more like that.
Yeah.
Like you are in the avatar you need to fulfill the mission that your soul came to do. Don't get too attached to this whole thing. It's like you have locks. I had locks like for 5 years. I grew them and everything. But it wasn't until I had my locks I realized I am not my hair. Before then I was, you know, it was very much my identity. And then I remembered when I remembered certain things, when I cut my locks, I remembered why I even wanted them. And it gave me a memory, and then what I used them for in that time, in that space, and why I choose different styles at certain times as well. So I think it's wonderful that you've picked what you have, and chatting to you on the other side and getting more of the other information like about your spirit. I can see why you're exactly in this avatar. I get it. Like, yeah. Great pick for this time.
I love it too. It's very similar to some Silanthian bodies, which they were way stronger. But like, I actually took me a while to get used. When I got awareness of my other vessels, I was like, damn, this was kind of weak. Like, where's my strong body? Where my wings at? Where my, like, I want my big eyes. Like, where's all this at? But then that's what makes humans so unique. Like, you know how many beings will come to me sometimes? Like, I'll be in the city and they'll be like, yo, what does a hot dog taste like? Or like, what is it like to have like locks? I'm like, you want to know what a hot damn dog tastes like? Like, yeah, like, you know, we want to know what human food tastes like. I've seen some places where they have mimicry of Earth cities. Like they have a Paris, they have a Timbuktu and like a Addis Ababa out there. And they like to, it's like a theme park to them. And they live it and they like pretend like they're human. If you pretend like you're not, they're like, get back in. Like it's like going to Disneyland for them. They love that. They want to know what it's like to be human. Some really don't like humans, but many are like obsessed. They're like, whoa. And they want to see what it's like to be in a human body. They're used to being in a blue skin or tall or have wings or whatever. They're like, I want to know what it's like to be in that human body. And that made me really enjoy this one because I'm like, okay, there's a time when I could go back and, I mean, especially after disclosure, many of us Starseeds will be able to just go into any other body we want. It's like literally like clothes. I could be like, oh, I could step into my other one real quick and then come back to Earth a month later in my human form if I want to. But this body is tied with the planet. This body has power from the lineages of humans thousands of years ago. It has information in it and a way of being that is not seen anywhere else. And it's been through stuff that is like a mix of galactic history, but it's its own history. Man, I'm telling you, humans and Earth is one of the coolest planets I've ever seen. And I get to live here and live this experience before Starway. Ooh, that's like saying, you know, when older people are like, yeah, back in my day when we was out on the streets, it's like you're gonna be saying that out there, like back in the day when we was on call like this, talking about this stuff and no one else knew it's reality. Yeah. But now they looking back and be like, oh, they was on it. I'm looking back at that now in the future and I'm like, oh my God, like we're living a big moment in galactic history that's like once in a blue moon. To see a whole planet rise in consciousness like this, especially Earth, this experiment, oh Lord, this is
big
so
things.
Good.
And it's funny, there's so many concepts that now we begin to talk about. Like for instance, there's people now, they're saying, well, I remember being in stasis in a pod and on a big ship that looks like a planet. And the idea of coming from heaven and then coming on this earth has changed now. People are like, oh, maybe people are coming from other place in the universe or other construct even. And I mean, Shem, you talked about this.
Yeah.
You've got all experience when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And have you heard, witnessed similar things?
Yes, I have seen my body in homeostasis. And it is that Pleiadian looking woman, which is really it's a Lyran Pleiadian mix, which is actually used to be my favorite body during the Lyran Wars as well, where I loved fighting in a human form, a Lyran form, especially since many beings thought it was weak. Really, they knew it was incredibly strong. Just you can see, just like on Earth, how they'd be like, oh, like black people are this or that. Meanwhile, black people are the original and they have the power of everybody in them. Like it was like that with Lyrans. It was like, oh no, they weak, but really they was the strongest. And to be able to show that, like to do what we did in the galaxy in that human form, it gave Lyrans the respect that they have today. Especially when others were like, we don't want to. The Arcturians said, don't trust them. If you trust the reptilians, we ain't gonna help you. Then they didn't help us. The people that helped us were the Andromedans. They was the ones that helped us to train. Everybody else was like, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to get hurt. So I've seen that body that I've used in so many different lifetimes on the mothership, and then seeing that body just in like homeostasis while my soul is in this body, I realized, wow, I could really jump. Like later on, if I want to, I could go back into that body and have this one in homeostasis while I'm somewhere else. And what if I want to go on a water planet? I'll have a water body that I could jump into. Literally, these bodies is just clothes. But because we're on Earth and the Earth rules, you have to forget and remember. And you also have to lock in with this body. It's like you assign a contract to basically stay attached to this body until after the experiment is done. You got to keep coming back. I mean, you could switch your astral vessel to look like anything you want, to look like other lifetimes. But no matter what, you always got to come back to your physical vessel like an anchor, because you have to live in the Earth experience to do what you got to do. So I've seen that before. And I always was like, can I just go back in it for a little bit? But my soul was like, no. Like you have to stay here and you have to really build a bond. And they were like, soon you're going to actually not even want to leave this body. You're going to want to even live this vessel outside out there. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, like I can't wait to meet my other family physically after meeting them in the astral realm almost every night, and coming with this Earth human vessel. That's like seeing a Na'vi from Pandora come to Earth in their blue body. That's what it's like. So this body is incredibly more magical and powerful than people even know.
That is wonderful. And I think it's a lovely thing for people to know that no matter what race you're reading as here, the actual human vessel is where the power is. Don't get caught up in the small things. That's like getting caught up on a toenail. Mm-hmm. Like, look past that. You've got this whole vessel here. Don't worry about the color. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
This whole thing here you got going on is that's the key. And I hope that people, I know they will, so I'm not saying hope. They're going to realize that. And that's going to be such a beautiful time. And it is already, because it's unfolding right now.
Yeah. Talking about beautiful time, you mentioned earlier you were pretty like happy and reminiscing about your time in Lemuria. Mm-hmm. So could you tell us more about it?
Yeah.
Lemuria was the master of feminine energy. All the water beings, all the Syrians, the Pleiadians, it was so loving. But there was too much ET intervention on this human world. So there was all this ET stuff going on with this beautiful, especially the dolphins was really involved with that. But it was like there was some stuff with some malevolent entities as well. Like, the reptilians wanted to take over. They didn't like that. So there was some infiltration. Just like Atlantis, they got too technological. And it became just like America, like you see where the countries are going, where they're distancing from what made them them. And so then they end up destroying themselves. So it was literally divine saying, I warned y'all, and they end up destroying themselves. And then they went to They went to Egypt and ended up doing the same thing. And they tried to bring it to Lemuria and did the same thing. So I always say it was straying away from source which destroyed it. Because it would have stayed if that didn't come. But as you can see, it was part of the divine plan to show us. So Gaia was like, I got a plan for humans and this planet. But Lemuria and Atlantis were very ahead of its time. It was when ETs were way closer to humans. And then GFL was like, oh, we got to pull back. So we can't be so involved in the human world with their awareness of us because it's going to cause problems. So they pulled back. And so now you see like the last part was Egypt. Egypt was like the last extension of Atlantis and Lemuria as some of the beings came there. And then it got back to the point where it started getting distant. And then it led to where it is now in all the wars. So there was a natural distance away from connection with the stars and spirituality on purpose. And you could thank the malevolent beings for that, but everything serves a purpose in the universe. So those beings were almost allowed divinely to do what they were doing, if you want to say that, in order to create what we know of today. So everything was to lay out galactic history, and we've seen everything that's been happening on the planet is just a smaller version of what's happened in galactic history. I'll never forget Lemuria Atlantis. Atlantis made us mad because everybody was trying to do this technological stuff that was kind of like nuclear. And I remember being like, I was almost like a wizard there. And I remember escaping right before the flood. Lemuria, they brought those technologies, or some sort of technologies was brought that caused people to be like, oh, why don't we do that instead of connecting with the ocean or connecting with the Syrians? There was a power play here. So that way of being is still within us, especially, but we shall never forget so that we don't repeat the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we ask all of our guests as well, though, low-key, we're doing this again because the conversation was conversating. But so we ask all of our guests, in your opinion, who are we and why are we here?
We are great energetic beings, spirits, souls, if you want to say, which chosen this experience, chosen to play a part in this experience. You have something in which is priceless. You get a planet to live on. You get an experience, a body to live in, and live this video game, if you want to say, for your soul to experience. You are a soul in which is a part of the greater soul or source to experience itself. And you get to experience being separated from source to help these other small parts of source to do what they're doing. We're playing a giant world, open world game. Physical, non-physical, even higher than that. You get to do this and we get to do it together. To me, that is priceless. Our souls are priceless. For me to get to talk to you guys is worth more than $1 million. Getting to meet other Starseeds is worth more than $1 million. Of course, I still want $1 million, but I love that it's priceless. Love is priceless to me. And I want everybody to remember your true essence so that we don't repeat the same mistakes our ancestors did off planet and on planet. And it's time to return home, finally.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Well
lovely. And for anyone who wants to reach out to you, get your services, see what you do, hear your stories, where is the best place for them to reach you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. I'm King Cash. I'm on TikTok, The King Cassius. You guys can find me on Instagram. Everything will be there. Can't wait to see you guys there.
Wonderful. We will definitely speak to you again. We loved this conversation and we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me on. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So guys, that's something for you to integrate. There's something for you to sleep on, dream about. And until next time, ciao.
Ciao.